Cam, it's inevitable every year. It feels like at this point it happened. It happened with Matt Rule. They were right, by the way, when it happened with Matt Rule. But already I saw a tweet, even got a couple texts from people in media saying not done deal, but effectively done deal. Nebraska donors are talking about it. The university execs are talking about it. It's either Leipold or Aranda. And right now it's Dave Aranda. Cam, it's basically confirmed Dave Aranda's gone.
Basically, yeah. Start saying your goodbyes, especially if they lose this weekend. He's 3-9 on the road. Baylor might can him first, honestly.
And then promote from within.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't want to risk losing Jeff Grimes, so might as well promote him to head coach.
Not even Jeff Grimes.
Yeah.
Just I go really big or go home. Just give me Brian Bell as the head coach.
Would love
from
that.
Like defensive line analyst to head coach of the Baylor Bears. This happens constantly now, which is a good thing, by the way, when you have a really good coach. Apparently other people want your coach. I would rather be in a situation like Baylor where people are wanting Dave Aranda than Texas A&M. No one out there is like, aha,
True.
Jimbo Fisher or Dan Mullen. I want them to be my head coach. Everyone's after Dave Aranda, and it was funny. The text that I got from sports, a guy who works pretty big in sports media.
Yep.
He is sports. Was like, no. Like, this is donors. These are people that are with the school that are like, this is big. They're going to give the kitchen sink.
We hear that all the time.
Dave's going to say yes. So I sent back. I was like, what if Dave's going to say no to LSU? Why would he say yes to Nebraska? And the guy was like, I don't know. I'm just hearing.
How tied in is this person to Nebraska without revealing your source?
Let me say, I like this person a lot. Very good at what they do, and very tied in with Nebraska, and said that they're going to give Dave Aranda.
That sounds right then.
Everything possible that they can give him, such as every other school did that wanted Dave Aranda last year.
But without the pedigree or the conference contendership.
Also, yes.
Without or a good recruiting base, not with that. Okay.
No recent national championships either for Nebraska.
Or anything close.
No. A lot of 9-win seasons in the last 15
Nebraska
years.
fans definitely think that. They think, this is the year 1998 and we are Nebraska. We're getting Dave Aranda because he's the best young guy on the market. Truth is, Nebraska sucks, and that I don't know why anyone would want that job. Honestly, get Big Red in the comments here. I think even Lance Leipold should stay where he is. Leipold should stay where he is. I think Kansas, what he's done, again, we're 3 games into the season.
Yeah.
But to me, that's almost lateral to Nebraska at this point. With the atmosphere around Nebraska and with how far off they are from contending, by the way. I mean, look, again, it's 3 games into the season. Kansas might not even make a bowl. They probably will, though. If they continue on this trajectory, they could be competing in the Big 12 within the next couple of years.
Yes.
Nebraska is not doing that. And maybe they compete within their division with the right coach, but that conference is Ohio State, Michigan, again, Michigan State. Like, they don't stand a chance in that conference.
Yeah.
And so maybe the Leipold thing's a little bit out there, but I genuinely think that's at best a lateral move. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But to your point earlier, Dave Aranda.
Well,
we'll hear people will say, like,
are you saying
what? Like, no,
you'd rather be at Kansas right now than Nebraska, by the way? I just want to make sure we
pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just making sure we're hammering that down.
Yeah, as I think it's coming down to, like, the same reason why I wouldn't go near UT, because of how much, like, the wrong people are running that program.
Yeah.
And the job security thing. Like, it does come down to that. Like, there's definitely more prestige at Nebraska than Kansas. But again, dude, they haven't been competitive, like, even a little bit since the time UT was competitive. Since they got rid of Bo Pelini, basically. Yeah. I mean, that is so – their glory days are so far in the past. Like, there is no allure whatsoever to coming to Nebraska. Nobody cares that Tommy Frazier played there in 95.
He did.
Like, nobody cares. Like, and that's great. You sell out all the games. Sick. You don't win any of them.
Yeah.
back to the point of, well, and there be people saying, oh, where do you have proof that Dave Aranda was offered XYZ job last year at Notre Dame, LSU, Florida?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, clearly he was. Like, he was the name on everybody's lips, and that was leaked, of course. Like, of course, everybody with a major opening, which was a lot, was calling Dave Aranda last year. And just because he said no and took a little pee-pee on your whole program doesn't mean he didn't get offered the job. That would be asinine to go to Nebraska. Absolutely asinine. And I know sometimes we come from a position of new Baylor privilege. This is not one of them. Baylor right now, for sure, head and shoulders, is a better football program and a way better athletic department and a better situation than Nebraska.
They have volleyball. They also beat Baylor in baseball. So I'll give them that. But outside of that,
and they have almost won a basketball tournament game in their history. Almost.
Yep. They've gotten close a couple of times. A couple of times now.
Couple single-digit losses in there. Elusive first NCAA tournament win.
At what point in our lives, if ever, because it does happen to head coaches perennially now, even at some bigger, better schools, will they stop saying, Dave Aranda's gone? What more? Especially after this last offseason, I thought it was done. I thought we're going to stop Aranda to Auburn, which I've already heard. Aranda to Arizona State. Aranda to Nebraska. Auburn hasn't fired their coach, and they've already hired Dave Aranda. I don't. When do these people stop? And it's not just fans. It's the media. It's people with
these media cronies who are getting it fed from boosters, basically.
They have blue check marks, and they keep saying Dave Aranda is going to go to Nebraska.
I don't have a blue check mark. That shows you how illegitimate blue check marks are.
I just don't. Will it ever end? Will there ever be a point in time where people stop saying Dave Aranda's leaving Baylor?
There is clearly a threshold at some point. I just don't know where it is. Like, I guess if you win a national championship, because
even Dabo to Bama.
I was thinking Dabo was the name I had in my mind, because Clemson has always been a good program, not a great program, and he definitely elevated them. And I'm trying to think of before he won the national championship, it wasn't like he wasn't the hottest name around, but it was never a thing of, oh, we want Dabo. We want Dabo right now. Like, that wasn't thrown out there. Obviously, Saban isn't going to be, because there's no program better than Alabama. But clearly at some point, there is a threshold where you become enough of a blue blood that if you stay successful there, you're not going to hear the name thrown around. But the nation does not see Baylor as that yet, and Baylor isn't that yet. But clearly, every major college football job basically was on the market last year. And I can almost guarantee you all of them sent in at least a call to Waco, to Dave Aranda.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? And he turned down all of them. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not. And worst case scenario is this becomes an awesome soundbite in a couple of years that goes viral, but it's not happening. He's not leaving Baylor. He's certainly not leaving it for Nebraska. The only real shock college football coach move that I remember seeing in my lifetime is real shock was Jimbo going to A&M. He had such
Brian Kelly.
Yeah, a little bit, but he had already spurned someone before. Like, Jimbo had such a good thing going at Florida State to go to a program that can't, even in their best years, win the division and the conference is wild.
Yeah, there was
that was Kim Mulkey-esque. That was a shocking one in a different sport.
That was a big one.
It's not. Why on earth would you want to go to Nebraska? Why?
Corn. If you like corn. If
you like corn, dude.
My high school assistant basketball coach was allergic to corn.
That kind of sucks, dude.
Yeah, you don't realize high fructose corn syrup.
Like cheese, knocking cheese out of my life would be an
corn
absolute
starch.
Nightmare, but
you understand how much corn is in? Nebraska has a lot of it. They husk that. The people out there are like, well, that's how people in Nebraska talk in my mind. Yeah, he didn't take those jobs last year because they didn't get any offers.
But here come the Big Red.
if you're telling me that Dave Aranda didn't get a single offer last offseason, this is the job he was waiting for. Right. I was like, why Nebraska for him? He's never worked there.
Drake, they used to be ahead of everybody because they had they were the first ones with strength and conditioning programs. If you could call it that.
Is Tom Osborne?
Let's just gloss over that, right?
Is Tom Osborne still alive?
Conditioning. That's a good dead or alive. He might be. Like the way Tommy Lasorda was last year. Like he's totally
Is that the same? Is that the same? Like Tom Osborne's the last one that really won at Nebraska, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, Bo Pelini had some decent years, but he's one of those guys like we talked about in the car last weekend, which is not going to be great for the listeners, but one of those guys where you're like, should you really give up Bo Pelini? Are you really going to do that much better? I thought the same way about Mark Richt at Georgia, and they did do much better. So,
by the way, Tom Osborne was
dead. DED dead.
Tom Osborne was a House of Representatives. Also, Tom, if you're listening right now, great to have you. You're alive. Awesome. Touch yourself. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Glad you get the old YouTube working.
Tomorrow.
Gosh, I hope not.
That's going to be great.
Oh, gosh, I hope not. That would be awesome.
Shout out to you, Tom Osborne. You cheated like hell, but you had a hell of a program.
Thanks for listening. Glad to have you. Coming up next, there's something
I could use some bulk, Tom. You got something for my butt cheeks? That's steroids, not anything dirtier. His team did steroids.